if you are struggling with finding peace and contentment, or even feeling depression or anxiety, it is totally understandable. I think that our world makes it almost easy for us to feel depressed or anxious. Social media alone is bombarding us with things that we need to do to create the best versions of ourselves. It's just really hard. I've heard friends tell me that they were feeling depressed because they felt like they weren't doing enough. I have felt anxious and low-grade depression from just feeling like I needed to do more. And I've been on my walk with Jesus for a while now. And like I've said in many of my videos in the past, I used to be lost in the New Age for many, many years. And I was on the train of trying to manifest my desires and constantly doing to feel good and to be better. And now I'm on my walk with God, and I can honestly say I have reached this point of so much peace, so much contentment. And I just want to share what has shifted in my life with my walk with God, and hopefully help somebody else, because I will tell you, when I first became a Christian, it did not start that way. I actually feel like all hell broke loose. Literally. I feel like Satan was like, and all his demons were like, let's get this girl, throwing all kinds of things at me at first. And so it was really challenging at first when I first became a Christian. And now I've been continuously focused on the Lord, growing in His Word, all of these different things. And the other day I had brunch with some girlfriends, and we're just talking about what's going on in our lives. And as I'm relaying to them everything that's going on, I realized how happy I am, how peaceful I am. And there's still things that are going on that at one point I wouldn't look at them as ideal, but I just feel so good right now. And I remember people telling me, like, you find your peace with God. And I don't know that I really believed that. I believed that God had the power to give me peace, but I didn't know that He would. And now I'm seeing this peace. This is real. When you follow Him, this really happens. So I'm going to share with you today, if you are experiencing anxiety, depression, discontentment, a lack of peace, feeling disconnected from God, anything like that, I'm going to share with you a couple things that I believe could help you in your own walk with God, so that you can feel peace every day, no matter what's going on with the Lord. One of the fundamental differences between New Ageism and Christianity is that New Ageism teaches that we are the creator, versus Christianity, God's the creator. So back when I was lost in the New Age, this is where, the whole manifestation movement came from. You're creating, you're thinking these thoughts, and you're doing everything to create according to your will. Versus now, with my walk with God, I've had to really surrender that. And I had spent so much time, like, I remember it was very popular to do vision boards, right? So two desires that I really wanted and would try to always kind of bring in according to my will when I was lost in the New Age. One was, I was always trying to find my purpose, right? And I remember we would do a lot of things like vision boards, which I don't think anything's wrong with focusing on your goals. But with God, when you surrender to God, you just don't need those things. I remember we would write our intentions in regards to like love. If you wanted love, I wanted, to find my husband. I wanted that to be sent to me. So you would write down all of these attributes, and it's about that person, your future spouse, and you're setting your intention for that, and there would be all of these things, and then you release it, to the universe, and this person's supposed to come. And now that I've been on my walk with God, it's not needed. None of those things are needed, because I'm praying and I'm trusting in His will. And I know that I'm not the creator. And so I just have confidence that my prayers are heard because I am praying for His will, and that's it. And I think it's that once we realize we are not the creator, we are not God. And when you fully give your life to God, when you truly go to Him, and it's just like, Lord, like, I surrender my life, it is yours. I'm going to trust in you. When you really do that, really trust. And I know sometimes it can be hard, but I will say getting into His word, I know people say this. I remember people telling me to read the Bible, get into God's word. And I just did not feel the connection to that. The Bible felt like a really hard read. Oh my gosh, now that I'm actually in it and I'm studying it, it is true that it is this living, breathing book. And all of a sudden, I feel closer to God now, right? And I'm trusting in Him. He's saying, be anxious for nothing. So I'm like, okay, I have nothing to be anxious for. If He doesn't give me these certain things that I'm asking for, it's okay, because He knows best. He knows the big picture. I have seen things where at one point I was like, how could that happen? Why would you allow this to happen? And then years down the road, it's like, wow, this really was for the best. So remember, there's nothing for us to feel anxious about. There's nothing for us to be depressed about, because He's carrying us. He has us. This is where our faith comes in. This is the difference of how the world is thinking right now. Everything's about positive thinking and creating according to our will. It's a very narcissistic society now. Self. But you go to God, oh, you just have faith in Him. You trust in Him. He loves us more than we even have the capacity to understand. We don't even have the understanding of that love. And we just accept that. Be anxious over nothing. It says it repeatedly in the Bible that our peace comes from Him. Committing to a non-negotiable spiritual routine can truly transform your life. So what I mean by this is being intentional with setting time aside to be with the Lord. So what this looks like for me is I'm a morning person. So I make this time in the morning. I start with studying my Bible. And I've talked about this before, where people would always tell me before I was a Christian to read my Bible, get into His word. But I always felt like when I would read the Bible, I would literally start to fall asleep. Like I was not understanding what I was reading. So what I do now, and it has been a game changer, I've talked about him many times. His name's Gary Hamrick. He's a pastor. He's on YouTube. And I will choose a book that from front to back that I will study. And I will do it alongside with him. So I will have my Bible and I will have a journal. And he goes verse by verse. So for example, I'm in Revelations right now. And so he starts like in Revelations, it's a lot. So he does an intro to Revelations. That's the first video. And each of his videos are about 45 minutes long. And then the second video, he's doing chapter 1, verse 1 through 11. And so he is just so knowledgeable about the Bible through and through. He's knowledgeable about the history of the Bible. So he'll tell these background facts, right? So one of the things that I thought was really cool and interesting, there was one of the verses in that first chapter up to 11 where he was saying that Jesus, when he comes back, he's going to come with the clouds. And then he says, and Daniel, in the book of Daniel also says this in the same way, that Jesus comes with the clouds. And so I thought that was just so fascinating that in these two separate books, because Apostle John is the author of Revelations, and then you have Daniel, who's his own, he's the author of his own book. And so here I am, I'm listening to him, and I'll pause him, and then I'll write the notes, and then I'll take my Bible and I'll flip over to the book of Daniel, and I'll find that verse that he just talked about, write that down, and I'll compare them. And so sometimes I only get through 15 minutes of his actual video, but I spent maybe more time writing notes and kind of looking at the Bible. But I'm present is the point that I'm making. I'm really present. I'm really trying to learn. It's like if you went to college right out of high school and you're just going through the motions, going to get your degree. But then versus if you went back to college when you're older and you're like, you know how valuable your time is. You have all of these different responsibilities. So you're really there to learn because you really want to be there. So you're going to be super present. So that's how I'm taking in his word now. And I just feel like the Bible has come alive for me. Like, I will tell you, now that I'm a Christian, I have had so many people discount the Bible to me, like tell me, man, wrote this. I had another gal, when this was actually made years, all these years after Jesus's death. And it's like, I'm getting so much information about the Bible by reading it and then looking up the history. It's like nobody can convince me ever that this book is not alive. Like but when you have to really get into it to see, it's like, there is no other book like this. It's amazing. So that's my first thing that I do. And I'm just telling you the importance of really getting into his word. And even if it takes you time, that's okay. You don't have to, I know sometimes people read the entire Bible in a year, and you can, but I think it's just better just to get in there, unless you can understand it. If you can understand it and get through it in a year, I mean, more power to you. I can't. I need to do it like I'm studying for an exam. So that's just been a game changer. But I feel like there's a part of me that understands the Lord in a way I've never understood him before, ever. And then after I'm done with that, I get on my knees and pray. And when I say I get on my knees, I really get on my knees. Now, I will pray to God all day long throughout my day, but during that time, my non-negotiable spiritual routine, I will literally get on my knees, pray to him about everything. And I'm being subservient by getting on my knees and bowing to my Lord and Savior. And I just feel like that prayer is so much richer than all my others. And then the third thing I do, and this is evolving, I'm still learning about this. So I meditate on his word, but you have to understand, I'm just sharing my walk, my current walk with God. So we'll see what this ends up looking like. I am still unraveling from what meditation used to look like in the New Age. So I'm in this private group created by Doreen Virtue, where it's called From New Age to Jesus. And a lot of people do have questions. What does it mean to meditate on his word? And so she said that the original Hebrew word for meditate was haga. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that meant, that was translated to mutter or utter. And she says, and the context was to read the Bible out loud. So the meditation part in the past has been just listening to some music, and after I've read the Bible and prayed, I am going to be shifting that to, so going back to maybe the chapter that I read, and then maybe read some verses out loud. I'm still playing with that, but that's my spiritual routine right now. This is how I'm going to evolve it right now. It could change. I think too, life changes, so you just never know. Something could be a morning routine, and then you might have to adjust the time. But it is a non-negotiable. And I tell you, it's kind of like exercise, right? If you go to the gym and you commit to it at first, you're not going to see a difference in your body. Not really, not the first week. You might feel sore, but you're not going to totally see big changes. But as you continue to exercise your body and go to the gym, all of a sudden, a month goes by, and if you were doing that pretty consistently almost every day, there's going to be something that there'll be a result, So I really believe this non-negotiable time with the Lord has really added or contributed to this peace that I feel now. I think that it's just that I'm seeking him in this way where I'm committed. So, and I will tell you, there's times where I get busy and distracted, and then I have to go back to that. It's life, but really making that important and going, back to him, seeking him, being intentional with him, we will get that peace. And so I think we just have to seek him out. It says continuously in the Bible how we need to seek him. And it says that we will find peace with him all throughout the Bible. It talks about how we can find peace and experience that peace within him. The peace of God is real. And if you don't feel it yet, I urge you to keep seeking him. I'm telling you, in the beginning, I did not feel the peace of God either. And I think part of it was, for a while, I was still attached to this world and my desires and how I thought things should be. And so if you could just let go of that. We really don't always know. Most of the time, we don't know what's best for us. But he does, and he loves us so much. So just let go of it. Be anxious over nothing. Continuously seek him and seek his will. And I am telling you, things will shift. He can transform your life. There's a reason why when people turn their lives to him, all of a sudden they cannot stop talking about him. He gives us peace. He takes care of us, and you start to really see that. And he really wants the best for you and I. So my prayers are with anyone who is struggling with anxiety and depression right now. I am going to say big prayers for anyone who, is just watching this video and you're hoping to obtain some peace. I actually already did pray before I started this video. I hope that this touches you in some way and you just seek him continuously, because if you do, it says that his peace, you will find that peace. He will give you that peace. If you like this video, I hope that you will click the little like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I ask that you please subscribe. I'm a super small channel and it truly does help me out. Thank you so much. I hope you guys all have the most wonderful day. God bless.